Hello, happy Friday. Today we're going to have our first episode for the Pro Show. So thank you for joining us, and I hope everybody is getting ready to have a great weekend, even though we did miss the snow. When we began to start talking about making the Pro Show and some of the episodes that we wanted to feature, one of the things that my staff recommended to me is, why don't you just tell us about yourself? And I thought, well, to me, of course, it would be boring, but maybe to someone else it could possibly help them. And I thought about it a good long time, and I have to agree. When I put this down on paper and saw all of the things I've done, all of the jobs I've volunteered for, and all of the boards I've served on throughout the world, I might add, I said, I think this will be something interesting to share with others. So at the same time, it made me realize that it's kind of a reunion for some of the folks who still live here in my town of Texarkana, Texas. And I worked with them. And when I see them, of course, we have conversations. But I'll bet you a lot of people wouldn't even know that some of the people I work with are still here, are still doing great things, and are still volunteering. So just let me start off and tell you. I went to Liberty Senior High School, and I graduated there with honors, and I was also one of the top athletes at Liberty as a female. But my first job was at Raleigh Burger. Say, what is Raleigh Burger? It's a burger joint. Yeah, I was flipping burgers. That was my first job. And at that job, I met a wonderful person named Betty Jackson. She now goes by the name Betty Jackson Carpenter. And she still works here in Texarkana. We see each other often. And she's a veteran as well as myself. So the first job I had with this young lady, she showed me the ropes. We had a great time. And oh, by the way, I was the first African American that they hired in Texarkana at that particular Raleigh Burger. So you can kind of understand the times that were happening at the beginning of my career, but I had no idea of the history I was making. After that, I had another job that I took. Now watch this. Most of you know it as Texas A&M University. Well, when I started working there as a secretary, that was my first real job as a secretary, working for East Texas State University. And it's at that job I learned the ropes about working in an office environment, working with machines that do so many things that were much faster than my Selectric 3 typewriter. And if you know what I'm talking about, that's going to age me. But the only thing I could type at that time, and I'm a very fast typer, was on a Selectric 3 typewriter. It's there at East Texas State University that I learned how to work efficiently, work with others, and I can thank Miss Ella Thomas for that. She was one of the secretaries that worked there for the president, I believe, of the university at that time. Now, I can also tell you, there's another young lady that I worked with. She was a secretary too. I can't remember her last name, but right now her name is Beth Bryan. And Beth and I see each other often too, and I think she plays the piano in one of her churches or something like that. But Beth is a beautiful person too, and oh my God, we had so much fun together. So I have fun memories of working at East Texas State University. And I want to tell you, you know where it was located at that time? Off I-30, where the workforce is located right now. Yeah, that was East Texas State University at Texarkana. And this was the year of 1978. Now, after that, I decided I need to expand and broaden my horizon. So I left Texarkana for Houston, Texas. And it's in Houston, Texas, where I had a ball. I had a ball because I wanted to become a model. That was one thing I wanted to do, was become a model. Except I had one problem. My mother was telling me, you can go down there and sow your oats and get used to real life, but you're gonna get that degree and you better get it in a short period of time. And I gave her a yes ma'am and went on to Houston, Texas. But it's also there that I started my modeling career at Mayo Hill. And I was one of the few African Americans that they hired at that particular time, and I became an instructor from 1978 to 1983. 1983, my mother come calling and saying to me that degree needs to be taken care of. So I had to wrap it up and figure out a way to do two things that I really want to do: is make money, and I wanted to model. And when I was modeling, we modeled in a place called the Galleria Oaks in Montrose, all in that area. And I loved going to the Galleria, and the people were so wonderful. On the weekends, I was a hustler. I worked at the River Oaks Country Club as a waitress, and then as a model, I worked in all of the malls there, but I also worked as a makeup artist for P.R.O makeup. P.R.O makeup was very expensive back then, and it's still out there. Back then, a very small packet of eyeshadow, just one eyeshadow, cost $10. $10 was a lot of money in 1978 and 79, when the minimum wage was something like, what, $3.55? But it's at Mayo Hill where they paid me $16 an hour. Let me repeat that again. $16 an hour to teach modeling. Oh my God, you'd have thought I was a millionaire or a zillionaire. That was a lot of money for me. But the beautiful thing, the steady job that I did have, and it was my full-time job, was that as an executive secretary for ADT Security System. Yeah, they're still around. And it's located off the Northwest Loop. It's still there. The president at that time was a guy, very handsome, very nice guy. His daughter and I became very good friends. His name was Bill Dow. His assistant, who was the vice president, was a guy named Rich Richardson. That was my boss. So I worked for the vice president of ADT Security System at that time. Worked there for years until I got ready to go into the military. On the side, I also had a part-time job working for the All Daily newspaper. And because of my career and because I had such understanding and kind supervisors, they knew my dream, they knew that I loved modeling, and whenever there was a show during the week, it was not a problem. It was not a problem at all. And I can say I have worked with some great people and some good people. Once I got through working with ADT Security System and decided, well, I need to go and have something steady. So my mother had said, keep the promise to yourself, go into the military. You can get your degree free, get out in 4 years and do this modeling thing. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I can have a dual career. Okay, that's what I'll do. So I had just come out of a fashion show at the Galleria Mall, walked down there all dressed up, down to San Jacinto Street in Houston, Texas, in that federal building. And I walked, most people don't know this story, and I walked in and I saw all of the offices lined up for the different military branches. You know, Navy, Air Force, Army, Marine. I went to the Navy's door, but they were out to lunch. You know, they had that little sign, the little clock around that says out to lunch. There was a nice, sharp-looking Marine leaning against the door with his arms folded, and he said, can I help you? He saw I was dressed up. Are you looking for your husband or someone? I mean, I can help you out. And I said, no, I want to join the service, and I want to join the Navy. He said, oh, now let me show you how sharp this man was. His name was Simon Dorsey, Master Sergeant Simon Dorsey. I'll never forget him. He was smooth. He checked out that I was dressed up. He said, this woman dressed up to the nine wants to go into the military? Oh no, I'm gonna make sure that I get this one right here. And he did. He said, listen, you can take the test. You can take the test and you go to any of the services you want. It depends on the score that you get. And depending on the high score, you can, get an open contract or you can get into a field of study that you like. I told him, I said, listen, I want to do this. And I'm one of those people, when I want to do it, I want to do it right then and get it done. But he took me inside his office and showed me all of these beautiful uniforms that the United States Marines wore. He said, now the Navy, they got that uniform and they got the white and the this and the that. But when he got to showing all of those beautiful pictures of the Marine Corps' Delta uniform and the Charlie uniform, he came to that dress blue uniform. He said, now this is our dress blue uniform. I fell in love. I said, oh, I want to wear that uniform. And so we sat down, we took the test, and lo and behold, I scored very high. Remember, I'm an honor student. And when he saw the score that I made, I had to come back in, take another test, scored well on that as well. So with me scoring so well, he sent me out and I started, exercising so I can get in shape for the military. And within 3 weeks, I was good to go. He got a contract for me to get into the military within 2 months. That's unheard of. That's unheard of. And I know it had to be because of my score. But here's the kicker. Generally, they'll tell you what your MOS, military occupational skill, is going to be before you even go in. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got in the military because they left the contract open, as they said. Another unusual thing. I could have landed cooking in the kitchen or driving a truck, who knows? But I was fortunate enough to land into a beautiful, elusive field in accounting and dispersing. And they call it dispersing in the military, but it's actually just payroll and accounting. But wow, finance? Me? Oh, that was great. So now I'm in the finance field in the military. And I started noticing how nice people really are to me. I found out that there's two things that all Marines, and two people that Marines want as friends. They want to have the MP as a friend, and they want to make sure that they have the administrative side and finance people as friends. Because when you want to get paid or you have a problem or you need to make an allotment, these are the people to talk to. So let's just fast forward. Once I got in, I said, let me see how these hours operate. So you got to be in formation every morning, 0600, 6 o'clock. And quite frankly, I love the hours because here's the thing, we work from 7 to something like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We don't get off at 5 o'clock, but we get an hour and a half of lunch. An hour and a half of lunch? I only got 30 minutes for lunch, I think, when we were working at East Texas State University. An hour and a half of lunch, loved it. Weekends were your own. You do what you want to do. That's all I need. It's the opening. So on the weekends, I fly off, go to my model's gig, wherever it may be. As long as I was in formation Monday morning at 0600, military never knew what I was doing. So that's how I started that dual career of being a Marine, getting ready to go to school, and also my model did not stop. So at the start of my military career, which was 1983, I had to go to a place called Parris Island, South Carolina. Now, let me tell you something. Anybody tell you that boot camp is easy, either they didn't go or they're just outright lying to you. It is hard work. But if you keep your mind focused on what you want to do, and the whole point of that is to walk across that stage very proud, you'll be okay. I had 3 outstanding drill instructors. Now, one of them got on me pretty bad, and that was because, listen to this, while I was in boot camp, I had done a model shoot. I had just gotten through with that. And by the time that the magazine was to come out, I had to be in Parris Island, South Carolina. So here goes my proud mama. She sent 5 or 6 editions of that magazine to me at boot camp, along with some brownies and some cookies, They had no idea. They had no idea. Drill instructors go through your mail, unless it's one of your letters that your parents send you, they probably won't bother. But if it's a box, they're gonna open it because they need to know what's inside of it. I just look back on that day and think, what was she thinking? I was trying to write to her as quickly as I could to tell her not to send those books, those magazines. But they arrived at Parris Island, South Carolina, and oh my God, the drill instructors, all of them came out, the senior especially. Oh, we got us a celebrity. And I was thinking, I know she's talking about me. And they were, we have us a model. I was like, oh God, no. And I'm gonna tell you, my bunkie, Ann Wiley, oh, I love her to this day. She was older like myself because I went in the military when I was 24 years old. Okay, I didn't go straight out of high school. And she was near my age, so me and her, we just bonded right off. I looked at Wiley, she looked at me like, oh God, they're gonna ride you. And they did. But I took it. Because one of the things was, the only one that was my height was one of my drill instructors, and she wasn't a senior drill instructor. The rest of them were pretty short, so I could, you can't look them in the eye. You gotta look straight ahead, arms locked, by your sides, all of that. And I just go and dream that I was somewhere else and let them all over the place, just argue. Because I was looking straight over her head and I was just daydreaming. But when I got through that, they saw I didn't want any special treatment. I did not. I just wanted to graduate on my own merit. And I did. But they knew I was there. So here's the base. Once I got assigned my job in financing at this person at Paris Island, South Carolina, the base newspaper found out about me. And as they say, the rest is history. Every base that I would go to, they would find out about my modeling and write about it. So I have many, many articles that have been written about me as a model and as a Marine. Because most people would think, is she crazy? Why would you go into the Marine Corps? You're a model, you're doing fine. It's because of my mama. That's why. She gotta get that degree. You can have all this fun, but you get that degree. And I did. I got my degree in 1996 at Avery College. And so another thing off the bucket list. But now I've started a business. And now here I am making history in the Marine Corps. In 1985, I made history in the Marine Corps in less than 2 years, and being in there, being one of the first females to carry a sword during a birthday ball ceremony. You think that's no big deal? Yes, it is. In the military, yes, it is. Men are the only ones that could handle swords, only the males. But that changed in 1985. And so myself and another sergeant, female, and I was only a Lance Corporal in E3. I made history. That was it was one of those great moments, and my mother was just so proud, and you'll see the article, but I just did not know the importance at the time until, my sergeant major told me about it. He said, oh no, you're going to go in the annals of military history here because you're making some great history, and this is something women need to know. So now after I get that and I start going to different bases, everywhere I go, I would start my business, a modeling business, so that I could teach young girls and boys about the industry. And guess what? Paid off big time. Every base that I go to, I've already got a captivated audience, right? All I have to do is advertise, and my classes were full. I had a great time. I taught mothers, I taught daughters, I taught men, I taught women, I taught everyone. There was no age limit on the people that I taught. And they loved having someone with my experience amongst them. Whenever the commanding officer or the general wanted someone out front to introduce a guest on base or any celebrity on base, guess who they called? That's Gamble Williams. And I loved it. I'm used to being in front of the camera. I'm used to making commercials, and so that's my forte. Here I am with a dual career. They know they couldn't lose with that. I became so popular when I was at Quantico Base that the Sergeant Major of the Staff NCO Club, listen to this, made me the president of the Staff NCO Club. And I was only an E6. That's a job for those that are E8s and E9s. I was nowhere near that. I think I only had something like maybe 14 years in at the time. But that opportunity came because I brought a lot of celebrities to Quantico, Virginia. I put on quite a few shows. We brought people on there, and I met marvelous folks like Willie Nelson, Alan Jackson. We just met, the Pointer Sisters. It was just a menage of a whole lot of people coming on that during that time that really, really were idols of a lot of people on that base. So it was nothing for me to go behind the scenes and make sure that they were comfortable and, they got what they wanted while they were there. When I had the opportunity between 1990 and 1993 to go to Asia, I was stationed at Okinawa, Japan, and had a chance to travel to Korea, Tokyo. Now during those years, Michael Jackson came to Tokyo. And it's also during that time that myself and a friend of mine, Stan Willingham, we were together somewhere, I think, looking at one of our commissary stores, and we saw that they had all of these people from Tokyo there. They were auditioning folks, and they wanted them to dance. So Stan looked at me, and we knew each other. He said, come on, Bess, let's go out here and show them how to do this thing. So I said, you want to go shake a leg? Sure. We went out there. It was a Sunday. I'll never forget because I was still dressed up from church. We went out on that floor, and he did his thing. We did the bump, we were doing all of the dances that we could remember, and we won. Yeah, we won. So here we are getting a free trip to go to Tokyo, and then while we're on the plane, everyone knew the Oriental people, the Japanese people, they knew. And they would say, champion dances. They love champions. They say the word champion. So we were hosted and roasted while we were in Tokyo. Got a chance to get a glimpse of Michael Jackson because that year he had Pepsi Cola cans. His picture was on the cans, and all I wanted to do was I didn't want to drink the cola. I just wanted the can with his picture on it, and it was a souvenir that I still have to this day. While we were there in Tokyo, I rode the rails, and again, I'm tall. I'm looking over everyone's head. It was a lovely, lovely time. But it's also there that I saw how people made shoes, leather shoes, and all they have to do is just draw around your foot, and the shoes will be made the next day. I had boots made in one day. That kind of service, you don't get it in the United States. So once I got in Japan, I set up the school again over on the Kadena base, and let me tell you, it was fire. But it's also where I met my best friend and also the godmother of my children, Linda Boucher Harris. That beautiful lady was one of the people that was assigned to me to greet me when we arrived in Okinawa, Japan, me and my husband. And she spotted me across the room and said, "That's gotta be her." And we've been best friends ever since because this lady is a dresser. She loves to dress like I love to dress. She had on beautiful makeup. I love makeup. We clicked. Not only did her daughter end up in my school, Desiree Harris Walker, but so did she. She was one of my students as well. And we did many shows over at the Officers Club and in the Staff Club and all over Okinawa. And I was on Okinawa News, as they call it, the Foreign Enlisted Network, FEN. But they saw me all over and were very, very proud of me and my work and being a dual career person with the military. They wrote about me there too at the SSG dispersing. That's where I worked. And my husband, at that time, he's a contractor and engineer, but he was a retired Marine himself. So we had a great time. He had a chance to do and make wood pieces, and I had a chance to conduct my modeling. Life was good. Now, when I got back to the States, I started getting promoted, and by the time that I became an E7 gunnery sergeant, one of the last places that I was assigned was at Camp Lejeune. We called it 2nd SSG. And I worked there at the base dispersing officers. It's there that I had the top position as the fiscal chief, top of my game. I had 18 years at that time, actually about 17, 18 years, and only 2 more to go, so I knew I was not going to re-enlist. I did want to get out because now I have 2 beautiful children, Choctaw and Heaven. Those are my children's names. My son's name is Heaven. I know you probably thought it was a girl's name. It's not. And Choctaw, I named her after our tribe. So that's my daughter, my firstborn. And they are, even though the mother would say that they're the best children in the world. They really are. But the part that I love is that she got a chance to go to first grade while I was in my 17th to 18th year. So now I get stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina. And it's at Cherry Point with the Arthur Edwards School, elementary school, where my daughter attended first grade. But they also needed a teacher. So by the time that I had enough leave on my books, I had enough leave on my books to where it was about 2 months that I didn't have to do anything. And I said, I think I want to try to go and see if I can get a job while my daughter's here at the school. And they needed an English as a second language teacher, a substitute. I applied for it and I got the job. So that was a beautiful thing for me because I had a chance to be near my daughter while she's in the first grade and with this life change and see her mother every day right down the hall. It worked out perfectly. But the military has been good to me, and I've had a lot of experiences. And I can tell you, there's good and bad in any job that you have, and we'll be talking about things like that in some of our episodes because I did see quite a bit of discrimination for others. I saw it. It was happening. And the only thing I could say was that, if you have the rights in here, then somebody should speak up for them. That's how I met Willie Hightower of Hightower Investigations. And at that particular time, he was working for Dr. Arthur Fletcher, the Civil Rights Commissioner in Washington, D.C. This man was a heavyweight, and he was also a Vietnam veteran. When he came to Okinawa, Japan, because of racial discrimination and disparities, That's where I met him. He met me and my late husband, Wesley Williams, and we became friends. And I told him, I said, one day I think I want to get one of these licenses so I could help other people. And I did. So in 1996, I got my license as a private investigator. So I'm an international licensed and private investigator. And I love the work. I do, because you get to help people that generally would think they want to give up. I've even had to investigate right here in my own hometown at Red River Army Depot. People out there not being treated well. Not all people. So now I'm home and I work with TISD, Texas County Independent School District. My daughter and my son are going to school there, and now they want me to come out and, do a lot of the career day speaking engagements, as I did with all schools wherever I was stationed. I love that. But I can tell you, I'm a substitute teacher for TISD as well. And the first thing that I would do, they would say how some classes are so rowdy. The first thing I would do is go in there and write my name on the board, on the chalkboard. Then I would put USMC, maybe thinking somebody would be sharp enough to say, she's a veteran, maybe we shouldn't try her. But then I would write Marine, United States Marine. And they look around the room and they go, what is that supposed to mean? And I would tell the student, it means I'm not going to take any mess from anybody today, and you will get yelled at. So we had an understanding right from the start. But quite frankly, never had any problems when I was a substitute teacher there. I am working with CASA. I still like to help them. We have a great judge here that listens to family cases, and whenever he spot me in the courtroom, Judge Addison, he would say, is that my Marine back there? And I go, yes, sir, it is. And he knew I am very busy because I do a lot of volunteer work here in my city. And it helped me. It really did. But I'm here, and we will have an episode to where we talk about volunteerism, being volunteered in your city, things you can do to help others. Don't just be a person that retires and, as they used to say, go fishing. When you retire, you're not really retired. I can tell you that. There's a lot to be done in your community, whether it's through your church or whether it's through your school system or just through your Chamber of Commerce. There's always something to do, and I love being involved with my city. So I want to say we're going to sign off, but there are many other episodes. I will even feature some of the people I've worked with here in Texas County. I've already contacted Betty Jackson Carpenter, and she said, yes, I'll be on your show. So we'll have a great time having her as a guest speaker here, and the experiences we had working at Raleigh Burger, flipping burgers. So yeah, my first job, flipping burgers. And now I'm in construction. I own my own construction company. I have a wine label, and I also still teach modeling, but I started a boot camp fitness program. And the reason I started that Extreme Marine Boot Camp is because I wanted to stay in shape. As the chief of operations at Cherry Point, I had an opportunity to be the training chief. Yes, I loved it. And I also was the person that they had to go through to get their brown belt in martial arts. Yes, I studied P.R.O, and I love martial arts. So I was the instructor. So you can see I've done a lot of things, and I've loved, there's not been an opportunity that I would let go by, especially if it was presented to me. And I suggest you do the same thing, because if there's an opportunity for you, don't push it aside or throw it away. Take it. You never know when you may use it. If there's an opportunity that presents itself and you can get certified in it or get a degree in it, do it. You may never use it, but it just feels good to have it. So with all of those opportunities that came my way, I took the opportunity to not only study it, but make sure that I got certified in it. And I have used every last one of them. I didn't think I would ever use my investigative skills, but I have. And I continue to do it to this day. I have clients. So I want you to join us on our next episode, and we'll make sure that you become a part of us as we embark on this wonderful journey of discovering people. We're talking to people all over the world, especially in Dubai. We also talking to people in Turkey, India. We talk in our live stream all over the place. So you can join us if you like, if you want to be showcasing of your products. We'd love to have you. Just watch us. We are on Patreon, patreon.com, and we'll be here for you. So I'm going to say goodbye. Enjoy your weekend, and remember, the Pro Show, we're here for you. Take care.